So with everything that's been happening in the UK, it feels like we're turning into a virtual totalitarianism. Like everything is being monitored, and the worst part is they decide to do it in this era where everything is basically on social media, is on the news, and you got both old people and young people watching it like a hawk. Like, why would you try and do it in this timeline? Back in the day, you might have been able to get away with it when it's only the old heads that really watch this. But nowadays, when you have a whole load of young voters, you really want to be playing this kind of game. Anyway, we're going to be watching like some videos and reacting to what other people have been saying and like how this prick really deals with it when he gets like brought up with hard questions and all of the people part of his little like party, right?
Plans for mandatory digital IDs will apparently be dead in the water in 6 months in the face of mounting opposition to the plans. Sir Keir Starmer has been warned by his former advisor, Peter Hyman. Well, I spoke earlier today to Labour MP Alex Ballinger, and this was our exchange.
The suspicion is that the numbers which are coming across are being used now as a brilliant excuse to push through digital ID. I've not seen one MP yet be able to explain, no politician can explain how that would help cure the migrant crossing crisis by safe, law-abiding citizens walking around with a...
Right, so basically with this whole digital ID thing, they're basically using all the small boats, illegal immigrants coming over to the UK, and they're saying that this digital ID will help stop that. But nobody in their right mind really believes that that would be a good way of stopping shit. Like, it doesn't stop anything, to be fair. All that's happening is you're making the rest of the public go on this digital ID, but the people that come from X, Y, and Z country are still going to come over, and they're not going to be using digital ID because they never got one.
Digital ID in their phone. It doesn't add up. The British people aren't stupid, and there's no way you're going to get consensus on digital ID from the British population. If you don't get that consensus, this policy will not work, will it? You need 100% of people on board with that. At the moment, we've got a petition. I think it's over 2 million people now just saying, I do not comply. What does Keir Starmer do then?
So I think digital ID is going to be extremely useful for the British public. It's going to make it much easier for you to open a bank account, to buy a house, to rent a house, to go through all of those interactions that you have with the government at the moment that are quite complicated and difficult. Got to dig around for those.
And you hear like the way that his people always do this like deflecting shit. It's like, here's a straight up question. It requires a yes or no answer or like a direct point. And these dickheads always go round and round in circles, right? About like, this is so great for this part and this part and this part. It's like, her question was, there's nobody that's going to be voting for this shit, right? You have 2.5 million people voting against it. What is Keir Starmer going to do about that? And listen to this dickhead try and tell you now that it's such a great idea. It's like, dude, 2.5 million people already voted against it. Shut your mouth and tell me what you're going to do about it now.
Utility bills. It's also, by the way, something that is used in almost every other country in Europe. Everywhere I've worked.
And another thing, right? You telling me that it's easier to take out like a new bank account and like to do your rent and all that kind of shit? It's already fucking easy to create a new bank account. Like, you don't need to have a digital ID to do this and to like go rent other places. That doesn't help you in any way. All that's gonna do is put a score, like an actual numeral score on your fucking head. And if you don't pass a certain threshold, you're not getting a fucking place. So I don't know what he's talking about. Like, it's gonna help you get a new bank account, which is already easy, and a new place to live in. When no, it's not. If you're not part of like the top threshold, like upper middle class, you're gonna be fucking penalized. So no, he's talking shit.
Worked in the past, has had a digital ID. That has been very effective. It reduces the costs on consumers and the costs on the government, so we can invest in other areas.
Hold up. This has been done in the past and it was very successful. Wait, what?
It reduces the costs on consumers and the costs dig around for those utility bills. It's also, by the way, something that is used in almost every other country in Europe. Everywhere I've worked in the past has had a digital ID. That has been very effective. It reduces the costs on consumers and the costs on the government, so we can invest in other areas as well. And of course,
Bullshit. Where in Europe does a digital ID? So the guy goes, let me just hear again, just to be like 100% sure, right?
had a digital ID. It's also, by the way, something that is used in almost every other country in Europe.
Almost every other country in Europe, right? How many countries are in Europe? There are 44 countries in Europe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 countries in Europe use digital ID. And in many countries, having the use of digital ID is voluntary, even if available. Not all use it are mandatory. So you telling me 10 out of 44 is nearly every country in Europe? This dude talking shit.
Everywhere I've worked in the past has had a digital ID. That has been very effective. It reduces the...
Where the fuck did he work that he needed digital ID like that? Are you talking about a ID pass? Like to get through doors? The fuck are you talking about you needed a digital ID everywhere you worked?
Costs on consumers and the costs on the government, so we can invest in other areas as well. And of course, it has the benefit of making it more difficult to work here illegally. Now, I know there's been a petition, and I know some people have raised some concerns. We should absolutely be talking to people and making the case about why this is not an infringement on your civil liberties. You give way more data away to social media companies, to tech companies, to...
Right, so because we give away our information and data to places like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube even, just to use their platform, the government should now have a piece of that pie too, because we use these platforms for whatever our reasons are, and we've agreed to their terms of service. So now because we do it for them, the government should now have the same rights, even though they're offering us fucking nothing.
To other private individuals, and you might be in the case of the government in this ID, and it will be making people's lives easier. It will help us reduce illegal migration. And I think once people understand the policy a bit more, they'll realise that and support it.
Now you see, she don't buy any of that shit, man. Nobody buys any of it. But let me let you hear her rip into this guy.
I'm not sure I don't know whether you just lack imagination or whether you genuinely believe what you're telling me here. Because
dude, look at his face, man. The dude is just like a fucking puppet, man. He don't even believe it. You can tell he don't believe it. He just knew he was going to get ripped into.
it is a very small step between a digital ID and a social credit system with the British people beholden to a government that has powers beyond your wildest dreams of how you can control the population. And I ask you again, if 100% of the people in this country don't support it, what happens then? Are you going to put over 2 million people in prison if we don't have a digital ID?
So I think we should be talking about some...
The answer to that is, fuck yes, they would. Fuck yes, they would if they could. If they could, they would. But I don't think they have jail space for that.
Sort of dystopian sci-fi novel. The digital ID is not mandatory. You're not going to have to carry it around in your pocket. No police are going to be inspecting you to make sure you have it. It's to make those transactions with the state slightly easier and slightly more secure. So you might need...
Wait, it's not mandatory now. Okay.
Need it, or you will need it when you're registering for a new job, when you're maybe doing some financial transactions around a particularly large purchase, or interacting with HMRC. These are sensible.
So then it is mandatory. If you're going to be making any kind of big purchase, like for example a car or buying your house, that is a mandatory thing then. If you're going to be doing, what else was he saying?
So you might need it, or you will need it when you're registering for a new job.
You will need it when registering for a new job. So basically, the only people that don't need this are illegal immigrants that don't register when they get a job because they don't need to.
Job when you're maybe doing some financial transactions around a particularly large purchase or interacting with HMRC. These are sensible things that...
And when interacting with HMRC, so if you wanted to do your, what was it called? Your loss assessment, so that you can get back some of your money from taxes and shit, you're basically going to have to do this. Everybody is going to have, those 3 things that he just mentioned will probably take up like 99% of everybody in the country. Because if you're not working, fine. But you know that people on benefits still going to buy something big that they're going to have to register for. If you're doing your own business, you're going to have to register. Everything that he just mentioned. If you work, which is going to be majority of the people, you're going to have to register. And I'm pretty sure, right, when it comes out, there's no way that they're going to give you benefits without you being on it. So I'm pretty sure it's like whether you're working or not working. If you're claiming, you're not claiming. You're still going to be on it.
You need your ID to do to access at the moment anyway. So there's no real change apart from making it simpler to facilitate. I honestly don't think when people really understand the policy and they ignore the scare stories that are being put out by particular people on social media, if they understand the simplicity of this thing, that they will oppose it.
Nah, man, we're scared of you. We're scared of him. We're scared of the people in power that are doing these things. We're not scared of like the fucking stories that tell us that we need to be aware of this shit. We're scared of people like you. We don't want to have people like you in control of us.
Well, I disagree with you on that, Alex, but I appreciate your time enormously today from the Labour Party conference. Thank you so much.
No, we don't. Fuck you, Alex.
Now, plans by Keir Starmer to roll out mandatory digital ID cards for UK work.
So now it's mandatory. Like, you went from it's voluntary to now it's mandatory. Like, it takes 5 seconds for that all of a sudden to switch. Cool.
Workers have been met with widespread backlash from across the country, and now we can report that over 2.5 million people have signed the petition against their introduction.
Which, by the way, I have signed it as well, and I will be linking it in this video. Hopefully, by the time this video comes out, you can still sign it.
Now, let's now speak with the CEO of Electoral Calculus, Martin Baxter. Martin Baxter, always a pleasure to have your company. Thank you very much for sharing this exclusive data with us. Let's start with the fascinating political backlash against this. And Martin Baxter, we can see there's wide support from the traditional parties, but the newer parties are rejecting it.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So this poll that we've done with our partners Find Out Now, we did the sample on Friday, about 1,000 people, and excluding the don't knows, we found 46% of people against the digital ID cards and only 27% in favour, with the rest in the middle. There we go, we got the graphs there.
So as you can see, all voters are basically against it. Reform are heavily against it. But even between the Labour parties and Conservatives, you're nearly 1 for 1. So people that want it and people that don't want it are nearly 1 for 1. And what does that say about your own kind of people, man? Like, you're fucking over your people, your voters. Like, think about it. You voted for this guy and he betrayed your trust. He's playing these kind of games on his own people. Why would you still vote for him?
It's not a left-right divide, as you were saying. But interestingly, both Labour and Conservative voters, by a small margin, support the plan. But Reform voters, Liberal Democrats and Greens, are all against by quite heavy margins. Reform voters particularly against. But if Keir Starmer's aim is to get maybe some Reform voters back to Labour and persuade Lib Dems and Greens to support him, this is actually not the sort of policy that's going to do it. These are those voters, the key ones he's trying to attract, are repelled by this policy. So it just goes to show politics is sometimes a bit more complicated than you expected. We thought it might have been a straight left-right split, but it isn't. It's more complicated than that. The old centre parties are for it, they're quite evenly balanced, and others are against.
Martin, the age split, to me, is absolutely fascinating. We're led to believe this is old duffers who don't like change. In actual fact, the rebellion is being led by the younger voters and perhaps Martin Baxter. That's
like I was saying in the beginning of the video, right? You pulling this stunt in an age where everybody has social media. Doesn't matter if you're old or young, right? And you can no longer just appeal the old heads. Like, you need to appeal everybody. And doesn't matter if you're doing like your going around the country kissing babies and going to schools, right? People are watching everything that you're doing. It does not matter that you're going around city to city, village to village. People will not give a fuck what you're doing if you pull shit like this.
because they remember the pain that lockdowns caused them.
Isn't that interesting? Yes. So we see that amongst the age 18 to 39s, over 50% oppose and fewer than 20% support. But all age groups are opposed, but the younger generation more opposed than anybody else. So again, quite interesting findings that maybe we wouldn't have expected. But as you say.
And think about it. Why is it younger people would oppose it more than older people? And think about it. Why is it younger people are more opposed to it than older people? Most likely, older people already benefited a life without it. And now we're going to have to live through it. Anybody that's younger is going to have to live through this shit. And older people, technically, not being grim, they're not going to have to live that much more of it.
Say it may be to do with lockdown or other attitudes amongst the young, but it's neither the young nor supporters of other parties are really groups that Labour should be trying to reject at the moment. So it's excuse me.
Martin, as you say, what's fascinating about this, Martin, is that the Labour Party is putting itself out there as it wants to lower the age that you're eligible to vote, and they thought that was a shoo-in. That could backfire because Jeremy Corbyn's party, the Greens, Nigel Farage's party, seem to be attracting a lot of younger people, and precisely this kind of policy is repelling young people.
Yes, I mean, the trouble with being the establishment party, which Labour to some extent now is.
And I don't know in what world Starmer thought that this would be the smart choice to push this agenda this violently. If you ask me, it just sounds like Starmer and his party probably got approached by some kind of AI company that offered him fuck ton of money. And I'm talking about fuck ton of money for the rest of his life and his kid's life consistently. No cash sum. I'm talking about forever. Because there's no way that you would be pushing this kind of agenda if you didn't get some kind of very, very good reward to fuck over everybody like this.
In some ways, it's good. It means you get lots of the establishment behind you. But younger people are always looking for something to rebel against, and Labour could be that something. So it's Labour can't take the youth vote for guaranteed, I'd say.
I wouldn't say that it's only for rebelling. Like, I don't think that's what young people are about at all. In fact, I think they're just trying to start a life, you know? Like, we just want to have the ability to have the same foot in the door like everybody else did before us. So I don't think that's what it's about. So that was Yumi News. Give them a like and a follow, and I'll link their video in the description as well. Bye. It feels like we're turning into a virtual totalitarianism. Jesus, that word is big.